Best scene, the way we were. Interior, classroom morning, bell rings.
Morning class, as we conclude on last week's chapter reading and move on, let's quickly review the terms and their meanings as it pertains to American democracy and civil rights.
Miss Weatherby, I've been thinking a lot about last week and what was said. I do pay attention.
Okay.
Why are so many people afraid of difference, afraid of each other? It's kind of hidden, but I feel it. We all interact, but sometimes you can feel the strain.
Those who know it, feel it.
Good question.
Well, let me tell you a little story. Just before I started teaching, I was working with the NAACP in San Bernardino County when desegregation first began in 1974. This was a benchmark area for the desegregation efforts in California, calmer than our southern and Midwest neighbors. Starting in places like Little Rock, Arkansas in 1957, Indiana, Missouri, Alabama, Mississippi, and Boston. Looking back in retrospect, the movement towards integration was far less violent and disruptive in California due to the overall health and economy of our state in comparison. However, by 1979, integration efforts almost came to a near halt, with California voters voting in Proposition 1, thus dismantling mandatory busing, of which many of your older relatives, perhaps siblings, came through during the mid-70s. Much gratitude is owed to one man in particular here in Southern California, the Honorable Judge Paul Egly, with whom I had the opportunity to work with. Although frowned upon by the masses of the white electorate, he exercised almost to the fullest extent of his judicial power a mandate to get people to cooperate with one another. It was with deliberate intent by this judge, through our dual system of government, through our checks and balances, where the raw strength and power of the United States truly lies. During his last day of shading the case on desegregation in front of a highly charged protesting crowd, he said, "People, listen please. Now's the time when you have come to realize the importance of maintaining our form of government and the importance of preserving the great freedoms and privilege we have come to know, not for the few, but for everyone. Some of you may not see it now, but you will be happy and proud to remember that you suffered an inconvenience and personal sacrifice in the name of unity and integration, and having made a worthwhile contribution towards the social and educational advancement of our society."
Flashback, interior courthouse day. Seated on the bench during Judge Paul Egly's closing remarks in front of two large groups. One, a rancid, angry crowd of protesters with dissenting signs against forced busing, taunting pro-busing advocates across the aisle. The commotion nearly drowns out Judge Egly's speech.
People, listen, please. Now's the time when you have come to realize the importance of maintaining our form of government and the importance of preserving the great freedoms and privileges we have come to know, not for the few, but for everyone. Some of you may not see it now, but you will be happy and proud to remember that you have suffered an inconvenience and personal sacrifice in the name of unity and integration, and having made a worthwhile contribution towards the social and educational advancement of our society.
I looked on as the crowd across the room grew increasingly despondent, as though the end of the world has come. I looked back behind me into the eyes of some of the youth, or future leaders of tomorrow. Their faces drew doubt. Fear on both sides of the room had made me united. It was in that moment following the outcome of the vote just a day prior that I realized fear of difference, regardless of socioeconomics, outweighs the commonalities of people. A fear steeped mostly in history, with doses of contrived superstitions, the deep and vast unknown shackled the judge's efforts. It was in moments like these when I felt there was a compelling state interest for federal intervention, but this was a process that lay before us.
A great pause occurs as the judge loses his composure as he yells at the members and representatives of the Los Angeles Board of Education who are seated directly in front of an obnoxious crowd. Additional bailiffs are called in for reinforcements.
My contention is not with the people of the great state of California, but with a select few. You and you,
Pointing to members of the board.
prioritizing the specific interests while opposing the integration program put in place to only protect the interests of children who have the same skin color as you all. Let's be frank. 4 of the 6 members of this board are white, while only 23% of the pupils in the district are white. And you all have resisted my efforts to improve the quality of the schools throughout the crosstown busing program, which began just a few months ago. Clearly not long enough to make a lasting impact, but instead you'd rather dig in your heels while at the same time rest on your hands. Your empathy for the less fortunate is impotent, and your hearts filled with apathy, lacking the courage and moral compass of responsibility to all the children of the district. Well, instead of shame, I guess you're happy. America is not so beautiful today.
The crowd grows louder. Judge Egly walks out in disgust. Fade back, classroom.
And therein lies where the shift of burden lays, firmly on the shoulders of your parents to get you all to school, and the compromise made that subsequently created the present busing program today. Permits with transportation.
Oh, so that's the PWT program.
The classroom is quiet.
Well, this feels uncomfortable. It ain't your fault.
No, it's not, Rudy. And it is of my opinion that had the board taken more of an equitable approach to their personal lives regarding diversity, it would have shown through in their public life and work life. In the end, we all have a civic duty one to the other beyond the scope of our preferences.
Well, I don't mean to sound insensitive, but I just think people are generally happier being sort of in their own space. Kind of like the folks behind the Berlin Wall.
The class moans at the comment. Lupe shakes her head in dissent.
I kind of expect that from you, Jake. Mr. I come to class when I feel like it.
Oh, it's all right. There's some validity to what he's saying. Remember, class, that's called the de facto segregation versus the historically mandated approach during the Jim Crow era called the jury segregation.
Yeah, but that still feels lopsided. If one group always has more money than another group, things won't ever change. Tell them, Pappy.
I was born by a river in this little old tent. Oh, just like this river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know a change is gotta come.
Giggle of amusement comes from the students.
Okay, try. Thank you.
Why does everything have to be a joke? This is serious.
An uproar in the classroom.
Listen, I'm not going to walk around here in shame of what my people have been through because of hatred and greed by the hands of others. I want to live, and this is how I deal.
Silence takes over as Miss Weatherby and others look on through the faces of Sarah and Jake. Smash cut. School bell rings.